fordomme var der over for homoseksuel for 30 år siden?
Der var rigtig mange, tror jeg. Det er jo før jeg rigtig sprang ud. Der var mange. Altså det var jo et spørgsmål om ikke at på nogen måde vise følelser i det offentlige rum. På det andet tidspunkt tror jeg også, der var svært at finde steder, man kunne gå i byen eller mødes. I det hele taget sådan set leve det normale liv åbnet op. Dengang kunne man heller blive gift. Man kunne ikke adoptere, men man kunne sådan set ikke ret meget. Og jeg tror sådan set stadigvæk, at for 30 år siden, den tror jeg nærmest stadigvæk har været kategoriseret som en sygdom, som man kunne få behandling for. Vi er kommet langt på de 30 år.
Hvilke fordomme oplever du, der er over for homoseksuelle i dag?
Jamen, altså jeg oplever sådan set ikke så mange i min hverdag, men det har også nok noget med at gøre, hvordan at jeg har valgt at leve mit liv, fordi selvom jeg er borgmester, så er jeg menneske og borgmester, før at jeg er homo. Fordi at hvis man gør det til at fylde mere end det, man er som menneske, så tror jeg godt, man kan opleve nogle fordomme. Så man vil ikke opleve mig løbe ned ad gaderne inde i København kan man sige, med løse håndled og høje hæle. Fordi det er ikke der, jeg er. Jeg er sådan set menneske, før at jeg er homo. Det er sådan set i princippet for mig en biting, som betyder meget for mig, men som jo foregår i mit privatliv, hvor Claus, hvor vi lever vores liv. Men det er jo ikke anderledes end at hvis man som hetero arbejder i en virksomhed, så er det, man laver derhjemme, det er jo heller ikke det, der fylder noget. Det er det en som menneske, der fylder noget.
Føler du, at der er nogle begrænsninger ved at være homoseksuel, og hvis ja, hvilke?
Så nej, jeg oplever ikke nogen begrænsninger i forhold til mit liv. Lever et helt almindeligt liv på en villavej ude i Virum, hvor vi bor. Har et fantastisk forhold til vores naboer, der er ikke nogen, der taler om det.
Har du noget tidspunkt oplevet en form for ubehag i en situation, fordi du er homoseksuel?
Jeg ved, altså, der har været situationer, hvor jeg har tænkt mig ekstra gang om, i forhold til, hvordan jeg gjorde og hvad jeg gjorde. Og det kan godt være, hvis man tager hjem i S-toget, hvis man har været i byen i København og tager hjem sent om natten, at man lige overvejer en ekstra gang, om jeg skal holde Claus i hånden, eller give ham en kys, eller om jeg skal undlade at gøre det i den situation. Men det tror jeg sådan set ikke adskiller sig fra, hvis andre går i byen, fordi man er opmærksom på en situation, at man ikke gider provokere nogen.
What stereotypes and generalizations do you feel that there are for homosexuals in Denmark?
You know, it's hard for me to say that. I haven't been here yet for 3 months. So it's hard for me to say exactly what stereotypes could exist. My goal always is to break down stereotypes, because I don't believe stereotypes are helpful in society across the board. So I know that I'll just want to tell my story, and in telling my story, I can minimize whatever stereotypes are actually out there.
Okay, so the next question is actually the complete same, just about America.
Yeah.
So if you have any prejudices from America that you would kick up?
Yeah, I think that I'll say it this way. I think that the progress we've made on gay rights in the United States over the course of the last 10 years has been remarkable, amazing. So, and in 10 years, we now have 16 states in either have legalized marriage or are in the process of legalizing marriage. And every state I've ever lived in, actually, in the country, there's 5 of them, have all now legalized same-sex marriages. So I think that even though, yes, stereotypes and there's prejudices, we've all been victims of prejudice in one way, shape, or form, but I always feel that I can overcome those prejudices by working hard, being honest about myself, and telling my story. Because I do think once people know who you are, know what you're excited about, then those prejudices go away.
Do you feel that there are any rights that homosexuals don't have? If yes, Which ones?
Well, I think it's the big one, of course. So there's a couple in the U.S. that we struggle with still, and the first one is what we call ENDA, which is the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. And I forget what the actual numbers are, but it's in more than 50% of the states in the U.S. You can actually be fired or denied housing because you're gay. I think that this is something, of course, the president supports. So it becomes, it just actually this last week or something passed the U.S. Senate. The House is still figuring out whether or not they're going to call it for a vote. Those are the sorts of things that you see in some of the more conservative states, a real challenge. Again, every state I've ever lived in has those protections already built in. The conversation is really, can you do it at the federal level? So there's that, of course, and then marriage, which is still, I think, last I saw, 38% of Americans now live in states where you can legally get married, which of course the president supports as well. But that still leaves, 62% of the country who are not able to. So those are the two big things right now in the U.S.
Do you feel that your career has been affected in any way because you are homosexual?
Oh yes, I do. I think that, look, it gives you a perspective that you didn't have, that my straight brothers and sisters, my personal brothers and sisters, don't have. I think from the time I was very, very young, it's forced me to look in the world through a slightly different lens. I think that it's had to take more risk. I've wanted to take more risk. I've had to search very hard to, I couldn't really fall back on what was safe to me. And my family and my culture where I grew up would push me in one direction, and I knew I didn't fit in perfectly well there. So that meant that I wanted to go move to California and really try to find out exactly where I fit in the world, which is an internal debate that I think most young gay kids have. So in that sense, it allowed me to take more risk. It allowed me to try new things, and really figure out who I was, what I loved to do, and what worked for me. And I think in that way, it's forced me to really challenge myself, and that's, I don't know that I would necessarily have done what I did in politics or be here were it not for that pushing me hard to try something new and to challenge myself. You can't be affected by it. There's too much negativity in the world, frankly, and you have to know, and this takes a while, but you have to know that what you're doing is right, and who you are can't be changed, and you can fight back, but you fight back with hard work and being who you are and following your heart, and so that's what I've always tried to do.